So now you should have chat there.
Is the little chat box in the up there?
Yeah, it's on the stream. It'll show up over here.
Okay, cool. Hey,
Should be working now.
I hear things. Hooray!
We did it.
We did it.
Mm.
Hello, Dar.
I will head upstairs.
Thank you for your support. Oh boy, it's been a day. Yep. Ethan was a little angry. So here we are. Yeah, well, I usually do this with a webcam. But one of my children ate through the cord of the good webcam that my husband bought for me specifically for this. And, he's not happy. But it is okay. So today we're playing Stardew Valley. Thanks, everybody. So I started a new game. This is my farmer, Irina. And we're going to be talking about farming in general, but also just Stardew Valley and goofing off in general. Yes, Dar knows exactly what I'm doing. Duh, of course I did. I needed to come up with a name of a new person. So this is how I imagine her looking. Keep garlic around. Oh, she is not a vampire. Good grief. How dare you? So, first we've got to clean up some space. We got to clean up some space. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to start talking about how... so I will say, I love this game. It is adorable. It is a lot of fun. Is it biologically accurate? Not terribly. And here's the reason why. So, when you start the game, you get some parsnip seeds, which is, you know, great and fun and all that. However, one packet apparently makes like 3 of these things. So, a parsnip is in the carrot family. And what that means is that they have tiny, tiny, tiny seeds. So one packet of these should have hundreds of seeds in them. And so that should cover like this whole space. You also wouldn't have them in neat little fun squares, even though that does make it convenient for coding. You would just sort of spread them out. So if you are wanting to plant parsnips or carrots or anything like that, beets are also a way to do that. You just spread them out, just sort of willy-nilly, because they're the size of mustard seeds, so, or like even poppy seeds, so like grains of salt. And then you spread them out, and then you put a light layer of soil above them, and then you wait. And then they will need to be severely thinned. Now, later in the game, we might not get to it today, when a parsnip does show up, only one parsnip shows up per square, per 3 seeds, which is a ripoff. So, I would say this is not the best. Bang for your buck.
Cats chewed the fork that's sticking out of your lunchbox, too.
Okay, well that's cool. That was quick. So how's everybody doing? Hopefully the chat is updating like it should. Working but good. Oh, you're still working. Poor thing. Poor darling dear. Alright. So let's cut down a tree and let's also make fun of this. So this, being very classy, I bet, always. Okay, I can't remember which tree this is. Didn't give me any seeds, so I'm not sure. Oh, you don't have to worry about hanging out too long. That's fine. Thank you for coming anyway. Being my fan club of one. That I appreciate. Mosquito candle, camping chair, wine. Ooh, that I like. That I like. Give me a seed, dang it. Okay, so some of these are maple trees and some of these are oak trees, but first of all, if there's going to be seeds falling out of them, there's going to be literal thousands, not just one. God, this money. Yeah, that's right. Don't you know? See, the thing is like it's gonna push me to want to go be sociable with the townsfolk, but I'm not going to do it. We're going to be at the farm and make fun of things. So, one, this scythe, one is terribly efficient, which I like. Two, it's like, I have not quite figured out what these weeds are supposed to be, ever. Definitely weeds. And they create fiber. Whatever that is. So, honestly, they look a lot like hemp. They really do. And yes, I do know what hemp looks like. Please don't ask me why I know this. And for those of you at home who's like, what is she talking about? What is hemp? Hemp is a relative of, we can assume, hemp is a relative of marijuana, yes. I do not know. I suspect marijuana looks very similar because they are cousins. But I do not work with marijuana, I work with hemp. Which is primarily used for fiber, as well as making paper and rope and other things like that. And I'm just saying that these little weeds... Yes, hemp is a ridiculously overregulated plant screwed over by cotton farmers in the South. Yes, it is ridiculously overrated, overregulated for sure. And that actually has to do with, so we can actually go into a little lesson on the different active compounds. Thank you, darling.
You're welcome.
So, my bartender here has brought me an aviation to drink, which is excellent. And is going to make Dar very jealous. So, yes. So, cannabis sativa is the scientific name. I also like to call a signature Ethan. Yeah, it is one of his signature cocktails for sure. So sativa, the species name, actually just means cultivated. So, very, I would say, inspired names is that, like, for example, cultivated rice is just Oryza sativa. And there's several other crop species which are just like something sativa, because apparently no one could come up with a better name. So it's very commonly used. So cannabis sativa is hemp or marijuana. There are different subspecies, so technically hemp is a subspecies and marijuana is a different subspecies. And the differences are in their compounds, in their CBD levels, as well as their THC levels. So CBD is which stands for a very, very long chemical name, which I'm not going to go into, is what's used for medicinal purposes, versus, and I'm using the wrong tool, versus THC is the psychoactive compound. So just the proportion of that in those different plants is what determines whether you're one or the other. So hemp, one of the reasons it is highly regulated, has to have less than, I think 0.3% THC. Yup. Otherwise, anyone who grows it can get in really big trouble. So back to I wish chopping wood was this easy in real life. Oh, for sure. They still haven't gotten me any seeds. So back to another thing I'd like to talk about in this playthrough is these trees. Okay, so all these trees are exactly the same height. If this was in real life, that would mean what? We'll ask the chat. What does the chat think? Cloned is a good idea. It might be even simpler than that. Likely they are clones of each other because they all look very, very similar. And that's... There was going to be a pop quiz, yep. So... many cultivated trees are cloned. And clone means is you took a cutting from one and then you planted it, and so they're all genetically identical. That's one of the reasons that when nasty pathogens or bugs... Yes, your succulent is a clone. You are correct. It is and that succulent, that type of succulent, which is called a zebra hayorthia, clones itself naturally. Airlaring 2, also, they were likely all planted at the same time. And so, hey, fishing trip. Cool. I will do this. I will do this at some point. Okay, see what I mean? 1, it's only been a day and these guys have already sprouted. That's already kind of, bullshit. 2, there's only 1. I put 3 seeds in each of these and there's only 1. Such a ripoff. That means the germination rate, or, the rate at which they start growing, is 33%. 1 out of 3. Which stinks. So usually parsnips go pretty fast. So maybe within like 10 days or so. 7 to 10 days. So that would be pretty good. But yeah, so number 1, they're all probably the same size because they were all, they were all planted at the same time. Number 1. Number 2, they look very similar because they're likely grafts or clones of one another. And also they are limited by the amount of light they get. So they compete with each other for light. So, for example, the only way you would get this sort of uniform of growth is that if they were basically, you clear cut everything and then you planted them all in neatly spaced like rows or whatever. And this game actually does a pretty good job on, you'll notice that you'll sometimes get smaller trees. And that's because they're in the shadow of other trees. So see, for example, this one will never get any bigger because it's too close to this one. And they actually coded for that in the game, which I really appreciated. So this would be how it would usually happen in real life, is this guy would overshade this one. And so it would never really get any taller until you take this one out. And so in the game, you can actually thin your trees by taking the big ones out, and that will allow for the smaller ones to grow. So that was very nice. Okay, cultivate hardest possible. I'm antisocial. I don't want to go anywhere. Also, this place is making rocks like Ireland. It's just full of rocks, man. Yes, so anything in the carrot family grows particularly fast. And I'm going to double check real quick, just so that I don't sound like a dummy. Carrots. Carrot, parsnip, whatever. Root vegetable. Wild carrot. Which family are you guys in? Which family are you in? You're an angiosperm. Apiaceae. So that's a good word. Apiaceae is the one that carrots and parsnips and stuff are in. If anyone's ever had a parsnip, one, I like them a lot. Oh gosh, parsnip. Pastinaca sativa. Remember sativa means cultivated? Gosh, no one can come up with any good names. Biologists are very literal, everyone. There's not a lot of inspired names. So here's another example of a small tree. And then, so this could happen quite often if you have a large sort of mother tree here, and then her babies will be nearby her. And so this is also an interesting lesson. So this stump here, if we went in the biological sense, is likely not a pine. The reason for that is pines release inhibitory compounds through their roots into the soil to prevent their children from growing too close to them. So that basically you get hundreds of pine cones with a bunch of seeds in each one that would fall to the ground. And they have to be outside a certain radius for them to be able to grow. Nope, no hugs from mom. So basically any that are within a certain distance would not be able to grow because they are called allelopathic is the term. And basically it's almost like a toxin into the soil. And that also prevents any other understory plants from growing up underneath the tree either and competing with it. And so this little pine tree here that's growing next to this stump basically says, basically is that this stump was likely a different type of tree, either like a maple or an oak or something that didn't have the allelopathic compounds going into the soil. And I hope I'm saying that right. I really, really am. And if I'm not, hopefully there aren't any planet biologists in here that can tell me that I'm wrong, since I'm not a real plant biologist. You catch the butter. I wish I could catch the butterfly. It won't let me. I've tried before. It just runs. What kind of butterfly is this, too? Looks kind of like a sulfur butterfly. Although they don't come in pink. That would be nice, though. Oh, gosh. What else were we talking about? Okay, we were talking about pink. But they are pink. That's a pink one. But I'm not losing my mind here. They're pink. Anywho. Now, well, Pasta's here, and then then you guys can tell him what I named my new character. Or maybe he did leave. Oh, yeah. Take a guess. Lisa Frank presents butterflies. That's true. I don't know why Twitch won't stay on the background. I'm sorry, Ooze. Sorry, we've already talked about... Nope, that's fine. Not a problem. So I was talking about these trees and how they obviously were all planted at the same time because they were so evenly spaced. I was also talking about allelopathic compounds, which I hope is the right word, or I'm saying that right, for this little pine tree to live here. And also that something they did well in the game is that there's growth inhibition. So basically, this little tree will never get any taller while this one is here because it's being outshaded. And they actually coded for that in the game, which is really nice. And I appreciate that touch. I was also complaining about the parsnips and how they're a ripoff. And actually, we should... I think it's a little too late in the day. I think we're going to have to go tomorrow. Yep. That we're going to have to go to the store. And then we are going to talk to Pierre, who's in charge of the store. And I'm going to show you how much his seeds are a ripoff. Because they're incredibly expensive for what you get. And I'm not a fan. Did I ever water my parsnips? I can't remember. Let's go see. Did I do this? Did I do this? So yes, so we have maples, we have oaks, we have pines. So this is definitely a more temperate forest. Although usually what you would get is you would get a bunch of... you'll get clumps of them. So just because of how the seeds are dispersed and because each tree will have so many of them, you will get clumps of... He's the only game in town. It is a seed cartel. You will get clumps of oaks and clumps of maples and clumps of pine trees. So that's why I think for sure that these were planted, because they're all sort of interspersed with each other. They're not natural, because you wouldn't see this out in nature. Also, oaks tend to be pioneer species. The reason for that is they like being on the edges of growth and forests because they don't share light all that well. So I don't know if you've ever seen a picture basically just looking up at the sky from underneath the canopy, that there are in the woods, and in the forest, there will be plants which they will avoid each other. Why can't I do this log? Why won't you let me? Oh, come on. Fine. It's because I have the wrong tool, because I'm an idiot. Nope, that's fine. Perfect. So, what will happen is you can see daylight in between different branches of different trees where they will reach into the gaps in the light as far as they can, but not touch each other. And that's because they're good neighbors. Oaks are not good neighbors. They get in each other's space a lot. Ooh, it might be raining. Okay, good. All right, so back to I still think we should have 3 parsnips per tree. Willow oaks are the worst. Yes. There are lots of things that are the worst. Willow oaks is one of them. I should probably sell some stuff. Okay, we're going to sell some of this fiber. Yeah. I should probably craft some things. Okay. Let's go craft, everybody. We're making a chest. Also, Pasta still hasn't guessed what my character's name is. We can use this sap later to make fertilizer. Actually, can I make fertilizer now? Yeah. Just because I find it funny. Nope, not yet. It's very on brand for me. Let's just say that. Okay, here we go. Whoop, daffodil. Which I feel bad. Well, if Dar's still here, he can tell you. So I should not be able to pull. Ooh. I should not be able to pull this daffodil all the way up by its roots, because daffodils are bulbs, and they usually will be several all in a clump. You usually wouldn't get just one individual one. Also, a leek would not look like that, because it's just sitting on top of the the ground. Also, they wouldn't be ready to harvest until summertime, and this is spring. Because leeks are a cold weather crop. So you have to start, if you want to grow your own leeks, you have to start them in February, usually in your house. And then as soon as possible, get them into the ground. Because they are slow growing. All right, Pierre. Close on Wednesdays? No! And how am I supposed to show you the seed cartel? Nah, I don't care about that quest. All you have to do is find a Farfetch. That's right. The guy's closed whenever you're there. Probably. I should greet someone. Hi, I'm the new person. Well, fine. See? This is the reason I'm antisocial. Yeah, exactly. Well, thanks a lot. Oh, boy, boy, boy. So, oh, here comes one of my children, being weird. Also destroying my things, like how he destroyed my webcam. And made Dad very angry. Okay, so now we're gonna put some mixed seeds. See what happens there. Okay, why has mixed seeds got like 1 and then 1 and then 2? That makes no sense to me. Okay, bye dear. Have fun shopping. Alright. Daffodil. 1, there should be bulbs and there should be more. Gosh darn it. I am not amused. I demand satisfaction. Gosh dang, there's a lot of weeds. Why do they all look like hemp? Why? Well, if anybody has any questions, let me know. While I goof around here. Eh. Shoot. Go. There. Every time I went through weeds, I thought about the clump of ticks I saw on the trail of it. Yeah, exactly. So, ticks. Like, this is, honestly, if this wasn't a video game, all this long grass is just tick central, man. Just tick central. Yup. So, if you want to learn more about ticks and the life cycle of ticks, especially deer ticks, you should listen to the Field Guides podcast. Bill and Steve, they're very funny. A couple of naturalists that walk around, and they talked about how the life cycle works and how to protect yourself and use caution. And yup. And also, one of them did have to get tested for Lyme disease. Fortunately, did not have it. But yeah, ticks usually are waiting for some... Speaking of biology podcast, thanks, babe. See, everybody, you need to get a husband who is also a great partner and also brings up all your different sources. Yep. So, also, this is a horseradish. Okay, 1, a horseradish would not be this big. 2, it would not be that easy to pick up. 3, they're like ginormous. And what was that sound? That was scary. Okay. I haven't heard that sound in this Stardew Valley before. Great. Awesome. Cool. Yay. I love it. What about D&D biology? Okay, yes. So recently, I think everyone here, but Will, okay, and Booing recorded recently, my lovely partner and I, who is Tycoon363 over there, just started our own biology podcast. D&D biology, imaginary biology, called Natural 20. Yes, thank you, Pasta. And we just did the 3rd episode about the rust monster. And we'll be making these once a month. We've done the owlbear, we have done the boulette, and we have done the rust monster. And what is that noise? And the next one, the next topic, which was actually suggested by our dear friend. Not sure if it's up on Pocket Cast yet. I know we just got it up on Spotify and just submitted it to iTunes, and you can of course find it on Podbean, which is where we're hosting it, so that's good. But our next topic will be bugbears, and that was a suggestion from Shadow Dunn, who was just here and then went to go eat. Okay, now, dandelion. That is maybe basically accurate. That is so far that has been the most accurate one. Also, whoever just sees one dandelion in the middle of the yard, that never happens. Never. Disappointingly, not bears. No, bugbears are not bears. Actually, they're goblinoid. Nor bugs. Yes, that's the thing. It's gonna be interesting time. I'm gonna be excited to get into. Takun is the history buff, and so I know he's really going to get excited into getting into the lore and the origin story of this creature. I am a big believer in hugbears. I like them. I am on Team Hugbear for sure. Thank you, Adventure Zone. Buff, read, nerd. Yes, okay. Yes, we are a couple of nerds. You nerds are hanging out with me as I'm making fun of, video game plants. Also, I haven't figured out what these bushes are, because all these bushes look the same. It's like, or slightly different. Yes, hi Bass. How are you? I'm making fun of video games. Okay, so this tree right here. This looks like either a type of weeping cherry, a type of cherry tree, or a magnolia. And the reason that it makes no sense is that throughout the game, no matter what season, it always looks like this. And this means it's in bloom. It cannot be in bloom all the time. It just isn't possible. In summer, and maybe this is early spring season that we're in. Dogwood on steroids. That's true. Although, wrong color. It's big for dogwood, though. Like a flowering dogwood. Oh, a way to tell if it's a dogwood tree, which you can't really tell on this one. Well, no, one solid trunk. That's right. And also, you would have... The branches are always opposite each other. It's completely symmetrical. So if you have a branch on this side, you'll have one on the other side, on completely the other side. And they do not alternate. And that's how you can tell that it's a flowering dogwood. But yeah, the one trunk. Well, then there's several different... Yep. They are opposite versus alternating. So that's a good way to figure out if it's a flowering dogwood or not, especially if it's not in bloom. So I can't check the neighbor's tree now. Now I gotta go over. Now I gotta see. She lied to me. Is she full of it, or she lied to me? Well, and also the thing is that there are a few. So like a flowering dogwood is a tree, but then there's also like red dogwoods, which is really like a bush. There are several different plants that have common names, and so this is why common names are difficult. Because, for example, I picked up a daffodil earlier. Well, a daffodil is also called a buttercup, depending on where you're from. And so common names aren't always the most reliable. See, there's another one, a couple of these trees. They should not be blooming like that all the time. Like, that's dumb, and it's not just how life works. No, my inventory's full. Ah! Fill me up, Buttercup. Yup. Fill me up, Buttercup, baby, don't you let me down. Fill me around, fill me up, Buttercup, baby, won't you let me down. I need you more than anyone, darling. Oh no, that was what Ooze wanted to do all along. Trick me into singing. Oh. Cruel but inevitable betrayal. Gosh, now I'm just like, I'm dumb. Like, I haven't thought about that song in forever. Okay, what is that weird noise? Please let it just be like some cool owl. Just be some owl. That would be nice. Okay, tomorrow we are going shopping for sure. And I could show you the seed cartel. Yeah, I'm not making a lot of money. Because I'm not really paying attention. Day 4. Day 4 of spring, year 1. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I wish I could get myself up at 6 a.m. every day. What's the weather? Clear and sunny. Fortune teller. Doesn't everyone want a fortune teller to tell you how your luck is going to be during the day? And it's actually accurate instead of just some horoscope in the newspaper. Living off the land. Living in Stardew Valley. That's where we are. Spring onions. You'd find a whole bunch growing right out of the dirt. Okay, let's go look for some spring onions, because actually they do a pretty good job. Ah! Hello? Who are you? Noticed you've been breaking up some onions. Have you been stalking me? Have you been at my house? How dare you? Alright. Yes. Just so happens, actually, you are a very nice neighbor. Okay, thank you. Fortune teller, luck is gonna be bad. Go back to bed. Write this one off. I've learned how to cut. Yeah, why are you on my porch at 6 a.m., right? Why are you on my porch? Thanks, Glint. Upgrade your tools. Okay, I will do this. Okay, I'm heading home. I know you live on the other side of flippin' town. You aren't just in the neighborhood at 6 a.m. Oh, my backpack is full. Pierre's got you covered. Get a better backpack. Yeah, but that's also a racket, Pierre. Okay, I put mixed seeds. There was like at least a dozen seeds. Only one. One thing sprouted. What the heck is this? Also, parsnips are not this big. Like, if a parsnip top was this big, that parsnip would be the size of my leg. Like, that's just insane. Be way, 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 way too big. Alright. After we get these watered, our mutant parsnips, the biggest parsnips that the world has ever seen. Quadrisnip, nah, that ain't it, right? I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Your candor. Alright, also that leek that's out of season. Alright, furnace. Oh, I need copper ore to make a furnace? Ooh, boo. Boo. Legward snip. Well, let's see. What are good leg words? You got your femur. A femur snip. That could work. Alright. Let's see how much money Pierre can take from me. Ooh. Oops. Help wanted. Fishing. Oh no. I can't exit. There we go. It's locked open at 9 a.m. Well, if Clint hadn't woke me up at, at 6 a.m. outside of my freaking door. And his blacksmith shop only opens at 8 a.m. maybe. So yeah, maybe an early riser, but still. Oh look, another daffodil. One, there should be more. And they shouldn't be this spread out, but okay. Let's see. If there's other weird plant we can find. Also, I am concerned about the biodiversity of these bushes because I'm pretty sure they're all the same species. And there should be more species of bushes. Otherwise, if a pathogen runs through, we're going to be in big trouble. See, there's another one of these dogwood trees. Or a cherry. Or something like that.
You should not look like this all the time. This is just not how it works.
If you were a red maple, then I would forgive you. If you're a royal red maple, then I would forgive you because you would then be red all the time. And that I could accept. But not this pink. No, I cannot accept this. There's just been one bush in town since 1886. It's gonna stay that way, right? Just one species. You don't get any more. I think I'm looking in the wrong place for spring onions, I'm pretty sure. Ooh, look, a yellow sulfur butterfly. Yay. I don't know which kind the pink are. I'm now trying to think of species of pink butterflies off the top of my head, and none are coming to me. Somebody else who is not playing a game right now might have to pick them up. Okay. Let's see. Let's go and get some seeds. Alright, Pierre. Okay. Monarchs are orange and white and black. 20 bucks to get one packet of parsnip seeds, which only gets you one parsnip. 60 bucks to get you one packet. Yes, a rosy made from my but that's not a butterfly. Party soot. Hashtag party soot. Oh, by the way, Pasta, my character's name is Irina. Anyway, so bean starter, 60 bucks. 60 bucks. Yeah, for a bean, right? And it will only make like a few beans for you. At least with the parsnip, it's like one parsnip, it's like one thing of parsnip seeds, one parsnip. Bean, you will get a couple beans. Cauliflower, same thing. One cauliflower, one thing of cauliflower seeds, 80 bucks. What? What? Also, matures in 6 days. This is not how potatoes work. Not even close. Never, never, never. Like, 12 days for cauliflower. Way. Yep, parsnips needs. They take 4 days to mature, so that's pretty good.
I'm moving the cat chair temporarily for you.
Okay, I appreciate that. But
I think you're going to like what you see here.
oh, thanks, babe. Wow. So my darling husband has brought me dinner, and it looks delicious.
Work on mine.
So, after I've spent almost all of my money... So, here, what we'll do is we'll get one of each of these, and then I'm going to show you what I mentioned. Yes, that's true. 70 for kale. Oh my gosh. Why? Fine. You can also spend $100 to get a sod plug. Look at this. Look into my eyes, Pierre. Look at this. This is a crime. Yeah, hipsters really drove it up for sure. This is a crime. Like, it's almost better for you just to go around and weed. And get random seeds and just hope that you get something good, because at least those are free. But, yeah. It's BS and I don't like it. Alright. So let's plant a bean. So, here's another thing. So these beans have a trellis. Not all beans need a trellis. right? Or a pole to climb up. There are lots of different kinds of beans. There's climbing beans that like going around the ground. You can give them a trellis. Most commonly, the type of beans that you get in the market are bush beans, or which kind of look like soybeans if you've seen those out in the field, which are low and shaped like a bush and go on the ground, you know, and don't vine or anything. But commonly, different Asian types of beans do have, the term is a vining habit, so that they will climb all over the place. Okay, so the cauliflower seeds, actually, you can't see this well. Sorry. Tree, I'm doing a teaching moment, and I'm sorry, but you're going to need to move / die, and I'm sorry about that. Okay. I needed to thin you anyway. You're blocking the garden. All right. So, you see these little specks right here? Those are the cauliflower seeds. That's actually pretty accurate because they are also somewhat like, when I was describing earlier, like grains of sand or grains of salt. And there are a bunch of them because a cauliflower is a brassica. Die for science tree. Yep. A cauliflower is a brassica, which is in the mustard family. So yes. Also, and this is going to blow everybody's mind. So, I'm looking at you. Everybody, look into Irina's eyes. Broccoli, Brussels sprouts, and cauliflower are the same plant. And now I'm going to wait for everyone to digest that information. Also, so broccoli, Brussels sprouts, cauliflower, and cabbage are the same plant. Okay? The exact same species. And now, back to pop quiz time. Nope, that is not how that works. What are some possible explanations? How can cauliflower and broccoli be the same thing? And Brussels sprouts and cabbage. Okay, so the question is, Ooze. So the factoid I'm giving you is that cabbage, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, and cauliflower are all the same species, are all the same plant. And what are some possible explanations as to why they are all different? Sort of. Evolved with some help. Not GMO'd, actually. Well, selectively bred. So, the original is cabbage. The rest are all mutants. Mendled is a good way of putting it, yeah. The rest are all mutants that were then cultivated after that and selectively bred to stay the way they were. So, broccoli has a mutation which causes it to have a lot of floral clusters. So what you're eating when you're eating broccoli is the flower. Actually, a whole bunch of flowers. In Brussels sprouts, those flower clusters got bigger and were larger instead of smaller. I cannot quite remember off the top of my head which came first, the broccoli or the Brussels sprout. But I know that cauliflower is a mutant of broccoli. For some reason, the flower clusters in the broccoli no longer produce chlorophyll, which chlorophyll is what makes plants green, and no longer photosynthesize. And so now there's all sorts of different colors of cauliflower that have been bred and cultivated. But yeah, that one happened randomly. Some farmers just like walking through his field and it's like, that's a weird looking, you know, albino broccoli over there. I'm gonna keep that. As with most things that humans cultivate, it's like, that's weird. I'm gonna keep that. Why the heck not? And so yeah, they are all the same species. So they are what we call different cultivars. So if there is a difference in different species, different varieties that happen naturally, they are called subspecies. If they happened because humans were involved, they are called cultivars because they were cultivated into different varieties. There are also something that if there are different varieties within one species. Yeah, Mendel snuck into. Well, cauliflower happened long after Mendel died. Although Mendel did a lot of really great work. But I think he would have been proud. I didn't describe my dinner. My dinner is sirloin steak, mashed potatoes, and asparagus. Because my husband's the best. Yeah, so like we're gonna see what you do, Bean. What do you want? Craft a furnace. I don't care. I'm being antisocial. I'm farming. Don't tell me what to do. But yeah, you have... Woo! Look at me. +1 to axe proficiency. Alright. That's right, everyone. We're going to become a barbarian. I'm ready to go. I'm ready. She looks like a fighter, isn't she? She's a fighter. For sure. What's the weather going to be like? Sunny day tomorrow. Cool. Fortune teller. Very happy today. Nice. Cool. Get out. Ooh. You saw how he stole my parsnip? You saw that, didn't you? Also, parsnips are not shaped like this. They are much more like a carrot. A lot longer. Not as chonky. But there you go. Also, this is this parsnip's the size of my head. What? Hi, JD! Oh, no. Okay, we've run out of space. There we go. Okay. But yes, this parsnip's the size of my head. That's way too big. Way too big. What do you mean I can't pick up more parsnips? Fine, be that way. An odd statement to come back to the stream with multi-class Irina. She's a farmer and a fighter, didn't you know? What was the odd statement you came back with? What did I say? See, this is what happens when I don't pay attention. Probably I was talking about the size of parsnips and how, 1, they're the wrong shape, and 2, they're too big. And 3, I should have gotten way more for the amount of money I spent. Although I did get a gold star one, which is worth more money. Okay. So it looks like I'm going to have to go buy more seeds, folks, from the seed monger. See our little bean just starting to go up. Also, there's okay. The potato and the cauliflower. No. Okay, so that's the cauliflower. That's the potato. And they look the same. They look slightly different color, but like these leaves should be different. Also, ooh, this is a good thing. So you see these 2 little leavies? So I appreciated that in this game. And I'm going to double check, but I think I'm right. Okay, potatoes. If they're a monocot or a dicot. It's a root vegetable. Perennial. Da, da, da. Originating. Also cultivated. Shoot. Characteristics. Ah. Potatoes. A monocot or a dicot? Is a dicot. Okay. Monocots. It's a dicot. Nope. We've got all dicots here. Does everybody know what I'm talking about when I'm mumbling over here about monocots and dicots? I'm curious. I'm curious to see if people know. I had a 50-50 shot. That's true. Out of flowering plants, you've got a 50-50 shot. Valuable JojaMart customers. Okay, well, I said it's a measure. It is not the number of seeds. It is the number of something, though. You're close. It does have to do with the number of something on the plant, but not the seeds. Not about the reproducing bits. Nope. Damn it. You're on the right track, though. You are. You are on the right track. Have I learned how to make fertilizer yet? No, I haven't. Yeah, you never knew you'd have to use 9th grade science here on a stream. Apples are. Yep. Many tree species are. Many tree species are dicots. And especially if we're talking about halves of fruit. Nope. Nope. Not the whole fruit. So here's a hint. Good way to know is when they're first coming out of the ground and germinating. What do you see here? What's popping out of the ground? Take a bite of asparagus. So. A number of leaves. So. In plants, inside the seed, there is an embryo. And they start with 3 organs. So when we're born, all of our organs, every organ that we have is there, right? Now, not the same number of bones, but that's a different matter. Ah, no. Anywho, actually, while we're doing this, I can explain this. So, the embryo on the inside of a seed only has 3 organs. It has a sort of baby root called a radicle. It has a baby stem called a hypocotyl. And the reason they're called different names is they're not structured quite the same as an adult. And then it has 2 baby leaves called cotyledons. And in dicots there are 2, di as in 2, and in monocots there are 1, mono as in 1. And that's the major difference. So, most grasses, winner. Most grasses are monocots. So things like corn and barley and wheat and rye and rice, as well as bananas and different types of palm trees. Those are all monocots. And then dicots are most of your other things. So everything I've planted in my garden so far is a dicot. Okay, everyone, the community center is full of ghosts. Just to let you know. Actually, they're not ghosts. They are forest spirits. And they're actually quite nice and friendly. Worry me, Irina. Everyone was always worried about Irina. That's a joke for people who play in my game. Maybe you can catch that rat if you have extra time. Thanks! That's exactly what I wanted to do with my spare time, Mayor Lewis. Yeah, ghosts in the Christian Association. Young ghosts, yep. Have to come back and explore this building further. Alright. Aviations. Bird. Alright, time to go lose a bunch of money on buying these dumb seeds, everybody. Darn you, Pierre. How dare you. See, this is the thing. Is like, in an early game, you might as well just buy a bunch of parsnips because they're the cheapest and you can make money the fastest. Because even though the other things make more money, it's such a ripoff. It hurts me. 20 bucks. 20 bucks for one. The worst. As I said, each one of these should have hundreds in them. And it should be like $5 at most. Yeah, min/max on Stardew, for sure. For sure, for sure, for sure. And it's called Stardew Valley because there is a Stardew fruit, although I have never seen, out of all of my time playing this game, and I played this a lot, I've never seen like a Stardew like fruit tree, whatever. They just are like, this is a magic thing and you have to spend a bunch of money to get one. It's like, okay. Oh no, I'm one short. How dare. Do I have any wild seeds? No. Looks like we're gonna have to go get some more, guys. But yeah, there's our dicot lesson. Well, and also we can talk about flowering plants versus non-flowering plants. And made very sleepy. Don't worry, I'm having a cocktail too. That's why it's so fun. The best part. The most fun. I also haven't eaten my dinner at all. Okay, here. Remember I was talking about allelopathy earlier? This pine tree, this baby pine tree should not be able to exist next to this one. Should not work. Because mom will inhibit its growth by releasing inhibitory compounds and stuff into the soil. So if anything, should be way out here. That's right. Far enough away from the mother plant. Should not work. Yeah, do nature's job for it. I will. Be the anti-Lorax. I am, like, legit the Lorax in real life, though. I should thin these down, though. So, just because... So, being a good steward does not always mean just leaving everything as it is. And especially because this was previously farmed land. It was obviously planted. It does need to be thinned badly. Also, I should definitely get way more pine cones out of a tree than just 2. Although the majority of the seeds are not going to be viable. Well, especially in oaks as well. Thanks, Oos. Love you too. Have a great night. Thanks for coming. Everybody be safe and well. Whoops, I just took out a baby tree. Whoopsies. It's fine. See, these guys are way too close. This is not how this would work. Also, why is there still hemp all over my farm? There's hemp all over my farm. Although, honestly, they can't be because they're too low. Hemp get really big and are really tall, like really fast. But that's the only way I can explain this making fiber. It's the only way. Because otherwise, most of the time, like, paper's made from pulp, like from pine trees. Although, honestly, I'd prefer that hemp wasn't so overly regulated. And the only reason that it's overly regulated and not used to make rope and paper and stuff is because of the lumber industry. There are a lot of rich people with a giant cartel, basically. Sorry, I'm getting a bite to eat. Oh. So. Maybe we should go on an adventure. It's not an overly expensive clothing company, right? It is so highly regulated. And it was spun by a bunch of lobbyists from the lumber industry to be as like the war against drugs or whatever, and it had nothing to do with that. It just had to do with they would make way less money because hemp is so much more sustainable and cheaper to make paper and rope from. That would have put them out of business. Welcome to America. Alright. Gimme. Oops. I think I'm out of inventory already. Gosh dang it. Now I gotta go home. I can't even go get those spring onions. Which you can find. Although they are not as easy to find in real life as they are in Stardew Valley, I will let you know. You can get all sorts of fun wild onions and wild chives. I used to have some grow in my yard. They also, if you've heard the term onion grass, it's also a term. Also a term for those. Alright, I'm gonna sell a bunch of stuff. That's what I'm gonna do. So how's everyone doing overall? Just because I'm curious about your welfare. Nope. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go to bed. How am I doing? I'm fine. Staying out of trouble. Now I've got the fertilizer. Yay! Nothing about my life has changed all that much. I'm still going into the lab and doing work and running D&D games. Yeah, right now I wish I were bored. Wow. Spirits are annoyed today. Oh no. Well, that's it, guys. Just pack it in. It's all over. Yeah, work is busier than ever. So, nothing much has changed. Just a day in the life. I know that this is supposed to be like a potato, and it starts off like this, but I'm glad that they are trying to make them look a little bit different. I appreciate that. Spirits are annoyed, right? Join the club. Yeah, everyone. Annoyed is a free action. Look, our bean is coming up a little bit. Ooh, that's exciting. That's nice. Yeah, I need to try to make like a Minecraft date with my brother. We used to do those. He's been working a lot too, though, because both of us are considered essential, but for different reasons. Me, because I work in agriculture and everybody's still got to eat, and everyone's buying seeds like nobody's beeswax. And him, because he works at a blood plasma lab, and they are definitely hurting for blood donations. Well, they usually are, but... Yep, farm equipment place. Everyone's still got a plant. Everybody's buying seeds like crazy town because they don't know when or if things are going to be available, so... Now, I will say that the spring onions all being in a nice little cluster right here is actually pretty accurate. Because when a single onion sort of goes to seed, usually you'll never see an onion go to seed because they're all picked before then because you're eating the root part. But it will have a flower spike come out of the top, and then it will spray just tons and tons of seeds everywhere nearby it until they'll all be in like a clump. So that's actually pretty accurate. Now this one lonely one, not so accurate, but he could have gotten blown over here. Or they, sorry. Most flowering plants are theys. They're all hermaphrodites. Actually, the ones that are most likely to be different genders are the pine trees. Depending on the species. Will be female or male. But the rest are hermaphrodites. Now, there may be female and male flowers on the same plant. So you will get that. And they will change depending on... So sometimes like male flowers will show up sooner than female flowers or vice versa. But quite a few... Oh, hello, Willie.
Hi.
Can I talk to you? Ahoy there. Anywho. But many flowers actually have both types of sex organs in them. And some plants can self-pollinate. Which means basically they'll produce pollen that will then fertilize the ovaries and eggs within the same flower. And plants go through, at least flowering plants go through a type of double fertilization. So this gets a little complicated. So in the bottom of the flower, there is an ovary. One is haploid, which means it only has half of the genes required, half of the DNA required to be a full-fledged plant, and some others are diploid, which means it has both sets of chromosomes, all the genetic material required. And so when a pollen grain lands on the female parts of the flower, or the stigma, a pollen tube grows down the stigma and forces its way to the bottom, and out come two sperm cells. One sperm cell fertilizes the diploid cell to make a triploid cell, so that means there's 3 copies of every gene. And that becomes the endosperm, which is the food that basically like the yolk in an egg. And so the endosperm is like the yolk in an egg that feeds the developing embryo. And then the other sperm cell from the pollen grain fertilizes the ovary, the egg cell, to become the embryo. And so this is a process called double fertilization. Sorry, that was pretty complicated. It's lots easier to do if I can sketch it out, but I cannot sketch it out right now for everybody. So if that was really confusing, I'm sorry. Just let me know and I can go over it again. But yeah, so that's what's pretty common in plants, so especially flowering plants. The majority of the plants we see are flowering plants. Or angiosperms, but they are relatively recently evolved. The oldest plants are like mosses and ferns, non-seed plants. They do not have seeds, they do not have flowers. They have spores. And regular old, like their sperm and egg cells look a lot like ours do. They have to live in wet places. And also ferns and mosses are male or female. They are not both. And then you have the next oldest ones are these guys, pines. Gymnosperms. So next... So your first kind of plants that evolved are vascular plants, so ones that have more organized tissues. So those are your mosses and your liverworts and your ferns and stuff like that. You have non-vascular plants, which are even older, things like algae. And then the next thing to evolve was your pine trees, your gymnosperms. So they evolved seeds. So now they have seeds, but they still don't have flowers. And then last are your flowering plants. So now we have both flowers and seeds. And then most of these are hermaphrodites. They are both male and female. Although I said most, there's exceptions to everything, because welcome to biology. As soon as there's a rule, there's something that's breaking them. All right. I don't know if we've covered all the plants in spring yet. Let's see. I don't know if you all can hear my cat, but I think he's losing his mind. What? What are you talking about? Oh, check on your cats? Yep. What are you talking about, Mary? And who are you talking to? That's what I want to know. I thought that was my cat. Yep. Which one? Shelly or Mav? Oh, that's great. Wow. Mine's on the porch, just watched her curl back on the bed. Yep. No, my cats, they're in trouble because somebody chewed through the cable. The reason that you don't get to see my lovely face. Nav can't meow right, so it would have been Shelly. Yep. The reason you don't get to see my lovely face is because that might have been him or his brother chewed through the webcam cable. So who knows when I'm going to be able to get that repaired and get a new one. And my dear hubby was very upset because he had gotten that for me as a gift so that I could use the webcam while I was doing these streams. So, yeah. So we'll see when we can get a replacement. But yeah, my kittens are have a bad habit of when they want attention destroying things. So we're going to have to come up with a new solution. Oh well. Too late now. Alright. What day are we at? Okay. Let's go to bed. Doo-doo-doo. Yersh. Ooh. Cherry bombs, that's what we need. Explosives, everybody. What could go wrong? Please do not make homemade explosives. Okay, why is there a rooster crow? I don't have one. Look like our bean. Our bean's almost at the top of the trellis. Oh boy, oh boy. Alright. Thanks, Robin. I am. As I said, I warned everyone in the stream that there are cat noises. They're just as they are. Also, remember earlier I got rid of that maple tree? And now there's a pine tree here? The little baby pine tree? Yup. Now that that's been removed. So they did a good job in this game of showing, you know, having there be exclusions. Light exclusions if they're too close. That they'll inhibit each other's growth. And that's very similar to what you see in real life. Now, I will say, a pine tree does not grow this big in 3 freaking days. The only, and I'm not going to say tree adjacent plant that maybe grows anywhere close to that fast is bamboo. And bamboo's a grass. And yes, I'm going to let everyone think about that and let that sink in. Bamboo is a grass. It is just a really big grass. It's also one of the reasons that it grows so freaking fast. And there are many, many different kinds of species. And there's even some that are native to the US as well, although they tend to look more reed-like. And aren't kind of what people think of when they think of like bamboo, like from the movies. And yes, ghost roosters. Ghost roosters everywhere. Wow, this is gonna take forever. I forgot how long it takes to clean up your farm. Also, where does all this hemp keep coming from? See, if they didn't all turn into the same kind of fiber, then I could try to figure out if they were different or not, but I'm pretty sure they're not. Even though they make them look slightly different just to make them more interesting to look at. But I will say that the biodiversity here is pretty slim. And I know that this is from a design perspective, because otherwise it would be very, very awful to try to figure out. But if we only had this few of species of plants in one area, I would either think that it had been reforested and somebody scorched earth something or some terrible cataclysm happened and these were the only ones that made it. And usually if you do have some sort of terrible cataclysm, the first things to come back are weeds. So it's pretty appropriate. It's actually another reason weed seed, the seeds of weeds, and weed is a relative term. Weed is just a plant that is someplace a human doesn't want it. We would say, maybe we should say, not invasive species. They can be invasive. Adaptable species is a good word. But, or what things that tend to be hardy species are ones which can deal with cataclysms, quote unquote. that occur and will persist in the environment. Usually, the ones which are most successful to deal with that are ones which have a lot of seeds very quickly and can establish themselves really fast before competition shows up. So there are a lot of different evolutionary strategies to deal with change. And one of them is either being, for example, an annual plant where you only live for 1 year, but you mature really quickly, you have lots of seeds, you can establish yourself really fast, and then you're done. And that makes a lot of sense. Or you can go the low and slow method. Like a tree, for example. Not a Stardew Valley tree that grows in 3 days. Like a real life tree that takes several decades to grow and can live like hundreds of years. There's more investment into growing. And so the majority of the time, and especially in tree species with maples or oaks or whatever, is most of the seeds won't make it. Like 99.99% won't. But if you make like several thousand seeds every year as soon as you reach sexual maturity, you don't really care. You get over that problem with having just lots and lots of them. And sometimes, I do not want to go here, I want to go to the blacksmith. And sometimes there are even, like beech trees, for example, most of the seeds are even duds because quite a few of them are going to get eaten. So you don't really care because enough of them are going to be fine that you will still be successful. And because you live for so long, time and numbers are on your side. And so the concept of having lots and lots of babies is called high fecundity. So fecundity is the amount of offspring per female, you know. And so the fecundity is determined by the number of females in a species. And so, for example, like fish have very high fecundity, turtles, reptiles, bugs. And so they will have a lot of babies, but they will put very little effort into those babies. Just lay a lot of eggs and they're just sort of like, good luck. Most of you will die, but a few will live, and that's good enough for me. Versus humans and other mammals, like elephants, for example, have low fecundity. And that is because they will only have maybe 1 or 2 babies at a time. But they put a lot of effort into raising those babies. Oh my goodness. And so because they put a lot of effort, deadbeat plants, they really don't put. So beech trees can somewhat be an exception on there is sort of, yes, I saw that. How dare you? We're jail. Deadbeat. You found something. Holy crap. Yeah, I think I found another artifact that I left at my house. Sorry. Remarkable. Remarkable, I say. Which thing did I find? Herm. Anywho. A great book, if you are interested in kind of how plants interact with one another and how they interact with each other and care for each other, is The Hidden Life of Trees by Peter Wohlleben. Is a forester from Germany. And they found that basically beech trees have their own nurseries where they care for each other as well as younger trees. Now, not all trees do this, okay? But it is sort of fascinating, especially the types of communication that plants have with one another. To care for each other as well as sort of their community. Of course, they communicate very differently than we do. But maybe we'll save that for another day. Alrighty then. Well, I think that's all I had. I hope everyone had a good time and enjoyed it. I think I've covered at least... Oh, no! Nope. I think I've covered at least all of the different types of plants that we're going to see, at least in spring, for Stardew Valley. And especially that there are some things that they do really well. There are some things that are definitely not accurate, but it's also a video game and it's for fun. So... yeah, I didn't know if you were drinking too. I was loving my aviation over here for sure. Well, I appreciate that, guys. So I'm going to head out back to my little place, and thank you very much. I'm thinking about trying to do this every other week. It might be once a month. We'll find out. But I think the next stream is going to be Subnautica, because that is what got the second most votes. So, thanks everybody. Good night, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.